What if Furiosa stayed with Dementus? So imagine if, instead of breaking free with Max and the wives of Immortan Joe, Furiosa makes a choice that no one expects. She stays with Dementus, the warlord, who's just as brutal but offers her something she's never really had: real power, the tough choice. Furiosa is exhausted. She's been on the run, fighting for survival, and trying to keep hope alive for the wives. When Dementus shows up with his brutal gang, there's this moment where he looks at her and says, "Stay with me. Be my second in command. We'll take over the Wasteland together." And here's the thing. Furiosa hesitates. She spent her life fighting the system, but now someone's offering her a seat at the table. Instead of always running, always fighting just to survive, she could have control. She thinks, maybe this is the way to change things, to make something better. So she stays, climbing the ranks. At first, things go well. Furiosa is tough, smart, and way more capable than anyone Dementus has. She starts organizing his army, training his fighters, and making real progress. Slowly but surely, she starts to shape the chaos into something almost civil. Dementus keeps his word. She's his right hand, with a voice in decisions and a real shot at power. But there's a dark side, and it's staring her right in the face. Dementus isn't just another warlord. He's violent, cruel, and rules by fear, not so different from Immortan Joe. Furiosa tries to rein him in, to find a balance between survival and something better. But every time she tries, she hits a wall. His brutality is always there, simmering under the surface. The war begins. Meanwhile, Immortan Joe isn't happy about Dementus gaining power. There's talk of war. Furiosa, stuck in the middle, knows what's coming. Joe won't stop until Dementus is wiped out, and the Wasteland doesn't have room for two warlords. Word gets back to Max, who's been wandering the desert, and he learns about Furiosa's new life with Dementus. He comes back, not to fight, but to talk to her. He tries to tell her that Dementus is no better than Joe, that power built on fear isn't real power. But Furiosa's torn. She's come too far. She believes she can still make a difference from the inside, even as the lines between right and wrong start to blur. The breaking point. The final battle is brutal. It's chaos, with Dementus' army facing off against Immortan Joe's war boys in the dusty, blood-soaked wasteland. Furiosa leads Dementus' forces, but with each swing of her axe, each order she gives, she feels the weight of what she's doing. And then Dementus crosses a line she can't ignore. He reveals just how far he's willing to go to win. Not for survival, not for freedom, but for total control. Furiosa realizes she's not building a better future. She's become part of the same nightmare she fought to escape. In a desperate, heart-wrenching moment, she turns on Dementus. The fight between them is personal, raw, and brutal. She manages to kill him, but it doesn't feel like a victory. It's just empty. The aftermath. With Dementus dead and Joe's forces in retreat, Furiosa stands in the wreckage of what could have been her empire. She's won, but at what cost? All the lives lost. All the all the blood spilled for what? The wives are gone. Max is watching from the sidelines, and the wasteland feels colder than ever. Max approaches her quietly. This time, she listens. Together they agree to leave it all behind, but that's the power, the battles, the constant cycle of violence. Furiosa knows now that change can't come from becoming another warlord. She and Max head out into the wasteland, not to rule, but to find a new way, one that's actually about hope, not fear. In this alternate story, Furiosa's decision to stay with Dementus drags her into a world of moral compromise, showing that sometimes, even the strongest leaders can lose themselves when the lines between good and evil blur. Before we proceed to the thrilling movie, I would like to introduce NordVPN. Are you tired of worrying about your online privacy? With NordVPN, you can browse the web safely and securely. And guess what? By clicking the link in the description, you'll get an exclusive 72% off your subscription. That's right, 72% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Protect your data, stay anonymous, and enjoy the internet without any restrictions. Click the link now and take control of your online security with NordVPN. Hurry, this deal won't last forever. Fan theory, what if Dementus was Furiosa's father? Alright, picture this. What if Dementus, the crazy warlord Furiosa almost teamed up with in Fury Road, was actually her father? It would make everything so much more intense and personal, right? The hidden connection. So, we know Furiosa's backstory. Kidnapped from the Green Place as a kid, raised in Immortan Joe's brutal world. But what if, before all that, her dad was actually Dementus? Maybe he lost her in some wasteland chaos, a raid or betrayal, and just assumed she was dead or gone forever. All these years he's been building his empire, becoming more ruthless, but still searching for her in his own messed up way. Fast forward to when they meet in Fury Road, Dementus immediately senses something about Furiosa. It's not love at first sight, more like, this one's different. Maybe he doesn't know why at first, but there's something about her, the way she fights, the way she leads. He's drawn to her, and that's why he doesn't just kill her on the spot, but instead offers her a place by his side. Deep down, he feels some kind of connection, even if he doesn't realize it's his own daughter. Furiosa's inner struggle. Now, think about how Furiosa would feel. She spent her whole life fighting to survive, trying to break free from the control of warlords like Joe. But when Dementus offers her a spot in his ranks, she hesitates. What if part of her is subconsciously drawn to him, even though she doesn't know why? There's this pull, this weird feeling that makes her wonder if maybe this is where she's meant to be. As she spends more time with him, things start clicking into place. Maybe Dementus says something about his past, and Furiosa starts to realize that this monster of a man might actually be the father she's never known. Can you imagine how torn she'd be? On one hand, she's been fighting her whole life to get away from people like him, but on the other, this is her family. And family's complicated. The big reveal. Eventually, Dementus figures it out too. Maybe it's a conversation or something Furiosa says or does, but it hits him. She's his long-lost daughter. Now here's where things get really messy. Dementus, who's built his empire on fear and control, suddenly sees a chance for something real. He wants to bring her in, not just as his second in command, but as his heir. He thinks that they can rule the Wasteland together as father and daughter. But Furiosa's not that same little girl he lost. She's been through hell, and she knows exactly what kind of person he is. She's angry, hurt, and conflicted. Part of her wants to believe she can change him, that maybe this is her chance to finally have the family she's always dreamed of. But deep down, she knows it's not that simple. She can't just forget everything he's done, all the lives he's ruined. The Final Showdown. When the final battle comes, it's no longer just about power or survival for Furiosa. It's personal now. Dementus tries to use their connection against her, saying things like, "You're just like me, you belong with me." And for a moment, Furiosa probably wonders if he's right. After all, she's done some pretty brutal things herself to survive. But in the end, she realizes that her real strength isn't in where she came from, or even who her father is. It's in who she chooses to be. She fights Dementus, not just to defeat him, but to free herself from the shadow of her past. Killing him isn't just about stopping a warlord. It's about breaking free from the cycle of violence and control that's defined her life. This theory would make everything so much more emotional for Furiosa. It's not just a fight for survival. It's a battle for her soul, for who she wants to be. If Dementus really was her father, it'd explain so much about her hesitation and inner struggle. What do you think? Could this be the missing piece to Furiosa's story? Interactive ending, Furiosa's final choice: rule, rebel, or escape. Alright, let's imagine this. You're Furiosa, standing in the middle of the wasteland after the chaos has finally settled. Dementus is dead. Immortan Joe is out of the picture, and now it's all on you. The people are looking to you for what comes next, but what do? You've got 3 paths ahead: take over and rule. You could lead Dementus' army and try to make the wasteland a better place, but power can be tricky. Rebel and destroy. You could tear the whole system down and free everyone. No more warlords, no more control. Escape and start fresh. Or maybe, just maybe, you walk away and leave the violence behind for good. It's all up to you now. What does Furiosa choose? Ending 1, rule the wasteland. If Furiosa decides to take control, it's a huge step. She's tough, she's a survivor, and she knows how to lead. So, she steps up, taking over Dementus' army, trying to reshape it into something better, something that doesn't run on fear and brutality. For a while it works. People respect her, not because they're scared, but because they trust her strength. But here's the catch. Power changes things. Slowly, Furiosa starts to feel the weight of it all. She has to make decisions that she never wanted to, and over time, the lines between right and wrong blur. She wanted to create a better world, but every day, it gets harder to stay true to herself. In the end, Furiosa becomes the ruler of the wasteland. But it's lonely at the top. She's brought stability, but at what cost? She's not sure if she's still the same person who fought for freedom, and that question haunts her. Ending 2. Rebel and destroy. If you go for the rebel route, Furiosa can't stand the idea of just another warlord rising to power. She's seen enough of that, and it always ends the same. People suffering, the strong taking advantage of the weak. So she makes a bold choice. Destroy it all. Dementus' empire, gone. His army, scattered. The people he controlled, free. It's liberating at first. People cheer her name, seeing her as the hero who finally broke the chains. But freedom isn't as easy as it sounds. Without someone in charge, the Wasteland quickly falls into chaos. Small groups start fighting over what's left, and the very people Furiosa freed start turning on each other. Furiosa wonders if she made the right choice. She tore down the old system, but now people are struggling to survive in a world that's even more unpredictable. Still, she walks away knowing she did what she believed was right, even if the future is uncertain. Ending 3, escape and start fresh. And then there's the third option. Furiosa could say, you know what, I'm done with this. After everything she's been through, maybe the best thing she can do is leave it all behind. The fighting, the warlords, the endless struggle for power. She's had enough. So, she grabs Max and a few others and heads out into the unknown. They're looking for peace, for something better. Maybe it's the green place. Maybe it's just anywhere far from the madness of the Wasteland. Either way, they're done fighting for control and ready to live life on their own terms. The road's tough, but for the first time, Furiosa feels a sense of hope. She's not just surviving, she's building something new. Eventually, they find a place where they can start over, away from the violence. It's simple, it's quiet, and it's exactly what she needed. In the end, Furiosa finds peace not in power, but in walking away from it all. Your choice, each ending, reflects a different side of Furiosa. Whether she takes on the burden of ruling, rebels against everything, or seeks peace far away, the future is hers to shape. What kind of story do you want her to live out? It's in your hands. That's all for today's video. Subscribe here at Maxiverse Twist for more what-if scenarios, fan theories, interactive endings, parody endings, and crossover endings. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a twist. New videos every week. Stay tuned for more videos like this.